Hello, my name is Margaret Duarte, and today I'd like to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and try reading in a genre you may never have heard of before, visionary fiction. You may ask, is there mystery, romance, and adventure in visionary fiction? Of course there is. We can't get through life without experiencing these things. However, that is not visionary fiction's main function, as romance, mystery, and adventure aren't the main functions of life. Life is about asking and hopefully finding the answers to some of these fundamental questions, such as who am I and why am I here? I'm talking about the metaphysical aspects of life in addition to the physical. Let me read a scene from book 1 of my Into the Between series to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Talking became difficult as the trail narrowed, and Ben and I rode single file instead of side by side. But the ensuing silence gave me time to appreciate, if not understand, the calming effect this complete immersion in nature was having on me physically and spiritually. When the trail widened again, Ben reined his horse to a halt and crossed his hands on the horn of the saddle, signaling, to me at least, that he was open to a few questions from an inquiring mind. I touched my heels to Blondie's flank and urged her forward until I reached his side. Ben, what can you tell me about the Native American medicine wheel? His lips twitched. Now what brought that on? Encouraged by what appeared to be amusement in his eyes, I said, I'm seeing a psychologist, the same one who cares for Joshua. Actually, that's where Joshua and I met, in the waiting room of all things. Anyway, the doctor's name is Tony Mendez, and when I asked him about the framed illustration of the medicine wheel on his office wall, he told me very little. Ben chuckled. Tony's a friend of mine. He follows the Four Directions teachings and integrates them into his practice of transpersonal psychology. He probably figured you weren't ready. So, are you going to hold out on me too? I kept my tone light, not wanting to reveal how eager I was for knowledge outside of the belief system that currently defined my spirituality. It felt like part of my mind was cracking open, maybe even my world. The indigenous people on the West Coast didn't follow medicine wheel teachings, Ben said. The sacred teaching of the medicine wheel originated with the Plains native people. But the Plains and Echelon tribes must have shared some common spiritual practices and themes, I said in a voice that sounded like a plea. I longed for the type of spiritual healing and reaching of one's potential that Dr. Mendez had hinted at in his office. Ben's nod was barely perceptible. Earth medicine may not be the right path for you. My mount sidestepped, tossed her head, and snorted. Calm down, girl, I said, stroking the mare's neck, though I was referring to myself. I don't have the permission or the training to be a spiritual leader, Ben said. Plus, you won't know how to interpret the wheel teachings or apply them to your daily life. Maybe the parts I could interpret and apply to my life would help me broaden my worldview. Something flickered in Ben's eyes, which gave me the courage to press on. Please, I'd really like to know. He repositioned himself in the saddle and patted his horse. I'll share with you the little that has been passed on to me. Stop me if I lose or bore you. I nodded. No chance of that. Ben's chest expanded and released, a sight I found comforting. Such a big man, so at ease with the world. The medicine wheel symbolizes the great circle of life, with no beginning or end, always moving, always continuing, always teaching us new lessons and truths. Its teachings are about walking the earth peacefully, in harmony with nature, and seeking a healthy mind. Ben glanced at me, apparently to see if I was following. I was. In fact, I was hanging on to his every word with an eagerness that would have been embarrassing if I hadn't been so focused on drawing out every bit of information he was willing to share before cutting me off. Different cultures interpret this tool in different ways, he said. So the medicine wheel includes sacred symbols that cross many First Nation belief systems and are adapted to modern times. Because of this, the medicine wheel contains medicine more powerful than drugs. Silence followed, a complete silence. No wind, no birds, nothing. Ben looked off into the distance as if he had forgotten my presence. "Don't stop, please," I said. He smiled, and I sensed his gentleness and felt a deep appreciation for what he was doing. "Thank you, gentle bear." "For the wheel's medicine to work," he said, "you need the faith, openness, and curiosity of a child. You have to believe that everything and anything is possible." "I think I understand," I said. "So many things have happened to me lately that I can no longer dismiss as coincidence." Things will happen on your path to self-discovery that may seem coincidental, but in fact happen for a reason. "I'm not an atheist, Ben. I believe in God." Ben shook his head. "We're not talking about religion here. The medicine wheel and its teachings contain no dogma, only harmony and connection." "A philosophy, then?" "Or a unique life science," he said. "So earth medicine doesn't necessarily conflict with my current beliefs?" "That depends on what you mean by beliefs. The Great One created all." The horses paused to graze on the wild grasses, moving forward every now and then for better pickings, which only added to the serenity of the ride. My gaze swept over the invigorating and aromatic terrain of white sage, chaparral, and oaks. "I'm only part Native American." "This isn't about genetics, but choices." The talk of truth and faith, combined with the sun seeping through my jacket, caused my defenses to melt away, and I found myself saying, "I've been hearing voices, Ben, coming out of nowhere." "Then your time has arrived," he said. "So you believe that I'm hearing something? Someone?" "Possibly one or more spirit keepers are revealing themselves to you. They often appear in visions or dreams." I thought of my vision of Joshua in the fire and wondered if I had been led here for a reason. All seemed so unreal. "Today, men and women alike want scientific proof of the spiritual," Ben said, which about summed up my attitude until lately. "The key to the spiritual is faith, common to all religions and philosophies." "Will you help me?" I asked. "Of course, but more importantly, you need to help yourself." "How?" "I can introduce you to the medicine wheel, but it'll be up to you to discover something of value in its teachings. A clue, a direction, a path." "When can we start?" Ben's brows furrowed in a way that signaled for me to slow down, as effectively as would a yellow light at an intersection. "This isn't a quick fix, Marjorie. No people walk the same path to spiritual truth." I tapped my internal brakes, like the rule-following citizen I'd been trained to be, though my gut impulse was to do just the opposite, run the light while there was still time. I'd been holding back and proceeding with caution for so many years that it felt like I was now only beginning to live. "Do you think I'm ready?" "Maybe your power has been transferred into the hands of others for too long. You might need to head out on your own for a while and find your own power." "Then we're right back where we started," I said. "Not quite. You're making room for the spiritual." "What if I don't discover what I need to know before I leave?" I asked, thinking, "Time's a-wasting. I need to get on with it." "You have the rest of your life." So why not give visionary fiction a try? If you'd like to begin with one of the books of my Into the Between visionary fiction series, they're available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. Or you can visit my website at margaretduarte.com for more information about a genre that will blow your mind.